Winning the Teacher of the Year award is, for those of us who teach full-time, it's, that's about the highest honor we can get. I think it's, well, the fourth time is a little embarrassing, to be quite honest, but it's a big deal that, my peers are recognizing really the amount of work I'm doing to try to keep getting better and try to help my fellow professionals improve and help turn out a better product. Well, the first thing I would do is join the Skilled Coaching Alliance. That's our program. We've got coaches from around the world, and it's a motor learning and coaching course that's 100 hours long. We've had several people, including Teachers of the Year, call it the best instruction program they've ever seen in golf, which I'm just stunned and thrilled that that's happened. But if I was a younger teacher, I would learn backwards and forwards the rules of ball flight. I would clearly, if you understand ball flight and you teach people how to use the tool, you can literally help any golfer of any level get better right now. So stick to, what's wrong with the golf ball flight? How's the club causing it? What can you do differently? And if you so dare, then you might go into what's wrong with this golfer's movement. But that's when things and they tend to get out of hand, when you start trying to make someone move. So I would stick to the ball in the club, and you can't avoid helping people. So the way that the program got started was we had been invited to the Philippines to go do something with the godfather of golf instruction, Mike Adams, and it was a big thing for the Philippine Golf Association, and we did, I did a junior program for one day, which was just awesome. We had like 50 kids in that, and I happened to meet Will Wu, the motor learning doctor in California, and we literally hit it off like that, instant. We're sitting in the back of the room on a break talking stuff, and then Scott Lynn from Swing Catalyst goes, "Shut up, take the microphones, get on stage, and keep having this conversation." So it developed into a conversation. And we talked about the application of motor learning science, which is just fancy talk for how do you learn skills. And my coaching approach to helping golfers, actually do that, and we just ran with it from there. We did a little program called the Coaching Connection and had a bunch of people get into that, and then we decided to make this a big show. So it's a one heck of a lot of information. You have whatever time you want to complete all the information, but it's super robust. But it really does provide what we call evidence-based. Like, there's some science in learning that is really, really sound. Like, why would you tell somebody to turn their shirt zipper back this way as opposed to, hey, we need more shoulder turn? Well, it turns out there's a lot of evidence why this external focus, shirt buttons, versus internal focus, body part, is so effective. That's kind of stuff that we're providing for the coaches. So one guy just finished from Australia, he said, this is an absolute game changer, which is really cool. What we're trying to do is we're trying to help pros, if I may say, make more money by making better golfers. So everybody wins. So to help any golfer of any level reach their goals is pretty much, I have the exact same process, right? What's wrong with the golf shots? How's the club making it happen? And finally, the golfer. And we might use motor learning science, like task simplification. I might make it much simpler at a certain stage in learning. I might shorten the swing. Hey, we're going to start with a 50-yard pitch shot rather than your driver because, you don't have very much skill, and then build it up. So, you simplify the task, and then you can layer on levels of difficulty as they improve. Does that make sense? Then laying on more and more difficulty, or more what we call task representativeness, meaning, okay, I'm going to have this golfer here hit a lot of 8 irons for a while. That's not very representative of playing the game, but it does fit in with where they are at the skill. But then I'm going to have someone like a touring pro, you just saw one in here. I'm going to make that look an awful lot like golf, if not make it even more difficult by really making it look just like golf. But one of the things is, even when you have a golfer of that level, you don't always train at that level, right? You can't always be in full performance mode. Sometimes you have to back off a little bit, and that's part of the art of coaching that we're trying to help people with. So it doesn't matter what level. I'm going to teach you how to use the club better. And if I've got to get you to move differently, I'm going to teach you how to move differently, but with a very much external focus of attention. Well, the reason I'm at the head of the class is I'm the guy in the corner with the dunce cap on. So when we're talking 1995, 6, 7 was the first book. Second was 99. What happened was that I was applying some of these principles of motor learning and had this way in Essential Golf of teaching someone the skills of golf at the same time as teaching them the golf swing mechanics. And I actually still use that. It's the whole part learning method, and turns out to be very effective. And I was seeing a lot of success with people, and for some reason, I decided, you know what? This is working. I'm going to go figure out how to write a book so I can share this on a larger scale. So my goal has become to positively get to the widest audience possible. I just had a student say to me, so it's the same move that we talked about 20 years ago. I said, well, yeah, the physics of golf hasn't really changed all that much. So yeah, it's really kind of cool. And the folks will cite something I wrote in Hole It, the newer putting book. And we'll have a new one coming too, by the way, called Talk and Practice. If you're from Philly, you know what that means. Maybe nobody else in the world knows what that means, but if you're from Philly, you know what Talk and Practice is. Number one, and it's not even close to how important it is word of mouth. That's number one. Is like I was kind of specialized in junior development, and this kid gets good, and on we go. It just snowballs from there. So that's number one. I do use social media, not so much, I don't think you would call it in a salesy kind of version, but in a trying to help kind of version, which I think that far outweighs the importance of coming out and selling something. So like what I'm doing on Instagram, because of those stupid Instagram posts, 4 of my seniors are playing golf in college next year. In a year that we have it's a disaster, right? But those stupid posts, and I just told one kid who is now number 1 in his class in the country, I said, guess what? I'm gonna be just as done when you get to the Masters. So there. So it's I try to keep it fun and helpful, and really I don't do anything other than try to help. So the way that I go about deciding on what technology to buy, and I have way too much. Don't tell Mrs. Dunigan what's in here. The way I go about it is, will this tool of analysis help me help a golfer? So if I'm using the Swing Catalyst Force Plate, which I absolutely love, that's the technology. TrackMan is not a teacher, right? It's just a tool for analysis. Then I've got to come up with basically an evidence-based practice for how to apply what these tools are telling me. So it lets me, I did at the PGA show, I did a talk called Caveman Coaching with Technology. So I use this kind of stuff to come up with a simple club-focused or external focus of attention cue for movement, or does the shot make the swing, or does the swing make the shot, kind of idea that lets this super technical stuff, like the 3D motion, I've got 5 sets for that, and like using the K-vest. I see what the K-vest tells me, ooh, we have a potential for injury in this person. Then I come up with some kind of super simple but evidence-based approach to helping a golfer overcome it. I've had just huge amounts of help. Some people I never met before, so reading their books. But if I had to say, Mike Bender was my #1 first. We have Chuck Evans taught me a whole bunch. I learned a ton from Mike Adams, the Godfather. And I mean, the list goes on. You put me on the spot here. But then, the top biomechanists in the world, like Rob Neal and Phil Cheatham and Dr. Kwan and Sasha McKenzie, these guys are all friends from going around the talk show circuit, so to speak. So, I have no problem getting on the phone and calling those guys and asking them questions. It is Scotland from Swing Catalyst. This is the greatest game in the entire world. All these people are absolutely happy to help us. It really is like super. I feel lucky every day to be in this business. I get to hang out with people I like on an almost constant basis. When we were shut down for 2 months, I went into a bit of a depression. But then, it's been way better since then. It is the coolest job in the world. And I taught Sean O'Hare for 6 years. He just called me last week. That kind of stuff, hanging out with those kind of guys, getting to spend time on tour, you learn so much. I go to webinars, guys I might never meet, and I'm going to steal from them very happily because, amateurs borrow, pros steal. And I can't even think of the list ending. And then there's the motor learning guys, Dr. Wu. The Schmidt and Risberg book was my first book from 20-something years ago. Trying to study this kind of thing, it is keeps me up at night, which is unfortunate. But it's, in the morning, guess what I'm doing first? I'm probably reading and or bugging people. It's a really cool deal. It's a really cool deal. And then, we have, of course, Applebrook Golf Club. Dave McNabb hired me. Applebrook's been a super move. The membership at Applebrook is really, really cool. Like, it's really, really cool. They're a bunch of fun people. We have a blast over there. So, it's been, gosh, I've been doing this for 30 years now. It's been a long time doing it. So I'm very grateful to all those folks that have helped me. Well, the 2 most important people are Mary Grace Dunigan, my daughter, who she's going to be 16. We only have her for 2 more years, which is just devastating to me. She's my golf buddy. And Francine, and those guys are my whole world. So they they encourage this madness, but they're really good to me about, letting me try to be as good as I could be. There's a reason behind it. Trying to support my family, but the greatest thing in the entire world is that my daughter is now a competitive golfer and loves it, and we still have a wonderful relationship. And we come out here and practice just about every single night, and we play a lot of golf. Across the street is where we play. It's really, those are the folks that I do all this stuff for. And my students, of course, but it's really about my family.